Hi there, welcome to the Noah Presgrove case with an important discussion in regard to where does one start within this case? Can you just jump on in out of nowhere? Do you have to do it in a certain order? And what's still important within this case, whether it's been solved or not, debunked or reinforced? I did say I was going to do a video like this at some point. Maybe it was more dedicated, focused one to each event bit by bit, but I just thought for now, just group it all together, because the recent themes and discussions have all been about the highway and where Noah was found at, whether he died there or not, but the highway, who was there, at what times and beyond, the road blockade, Caden going down an alternative route, Renee arriving at a certain time, clashes with timestamps, just counterpoints being made, all very important, and Caden's own timeline and Mikey's counter Snapchat, or more so Logan's who took it at the time. Whilst that's all been important and there's been a theme there, there are still previous events which are just as important and follow an order, and they need to be acknowledged as well. And I think there's some maybe smaller events which are just as important. So today I'm just going to break it down bit by bit. I'll probably try and do it in the correct order as well. And then for each event, for each activity, I explained the possible mysteries still behind them, the grey areas, what we may have learned since in recent time, how does it impact the case, where does it lead to, and more. So be sure to stick around for that. Welcome to those that are currently here during this live premiere. Share your reactions and comments in the live chat on the right hand side of the screen where the box will be. And if you're watching later on catch up, be sure to drop your comments, thoughts below under this video, because that will help with spreading awareness. YouTube may push the video out there more, so then more people get to learn about this case and try and keep up to date with it. And as a recap as well, if you want to catch up on recent videos by me, you'll be able to find that top right where the eye symbol is, with the full playlist and the loose videos attached. And if you want to support this channel in alternative ways, practical way to do that, down below in the comment section, there will be a pinned message by me with a PayPal link. With that all being said, we'll start the video off, and as a disclaimer, later on, we'll talk about some other things a little bit more light-hearted to cut through the darkness. And, it's my channel, my videos, I can do alternative stuff along the way, because I've seen how people positively respond back to it. There is one thing that I am missing, and I'm not too sure if the right people are watching or present right now. Maybe they might show up later. But what I do need to activate, because credit to the likes of, I think, Robbie Taylor, Tim Daniel, and Donna Bond, and anyone else in between for the Super Chat support last night. Very positive to see. I did actually do a poll, and the results were that about 94% of people wanted to see the frog make an appearance, right? I'll do a few more references with the frog later on, but let me just go and activate it right now. There we go. So hopefully you can still see the frog. It should be clear enough. It definitely is a frog, by the way. Got the beady eyes poking up, little nose, mouth as well. It's a happy frog. Happy frog means deep ponds, enough space to swim about and seek refuge and comfort. But obviously from outside forces, deep ponds mean deep threats. Oh no, hopefully nobody drowns there. As for pockets, well, who knows where that's at, limitless. But I'm gonna keep it on my neck for now, because I might as well, but I will take this robe off because I don't want to get too hot. Oh no, the frog's falling off already. Donna Bond, feed it some waffles, or combine it into a frog waffle, whichever one. That's like how it is, a little tight little hole like that. It's a neck rester, so it's a valuable, worthy prop today. And it might even speak itself at times, who knows. If we don't have enough frogs already. Hey everybody, it's me, Kermit the Frog. Why don't we just get this voice right now? Donna Bond, you know who I am. I'm Kermit the Frog. Don't worry, it's all under control right now. We might get some petty twits out there. Oh my goodness, did Kermit the Frog swear? That's damn right. You're a complete twat. There we go. Great. So, I think we should focus in now. And if anyone did miss that section, I can, bring it back up again later. But where would one start within this case of Noah Presgrove? So if you're referring to the party itself, when things started to unfold, you could probably say Sunday night, getting around that point. Would I include the Bryland Sweat, Noah Presgrove situation of the slapping there? At this moment in time, I wouldn't look too deep into it unless there was additional context behind it or audio, which some people have interpreted in the past and it's been done incorrectly. Other people assumed that what Isaac was doing in the background was dodgy and who he was pointing to, and the mention of "I will kill you" was incorrect. It was more so "that will kill you," as in maybe like a warning or an act of concern. The firearm which he was holding himself, people did lock in on that. It's a particular event where you could interpret it in many dark ways, but does it actually mean to say that that's the actual outcome? Not exactly. So I'm just leaving that bit out at this moment, but I'm not completely dismissing it. I think if there's ever a time, if it's really needed, it could be analysed by itself. What I would say in terms of the 150 photo taken of Noah and Jack in the bathroom, how significant is that? Well, based off the timing of when it was taken, the photo, what we have seen of it, does not give like an outline or a user interface of an overlay of the timestamp itself. I refer to it as 1:50 in the morning because a lot of other people do online. And that might sound really bad at that. It might sound like Chinese whispers just going along with it as a form of compliance or something. But I'm explaining to you the source of where it comes from and why I word it the way I do. I mean, is there any actual hard evidence of the original photo, the bathroom one, of 1:50 in the morning, besides what just general public people say online? Maybe that can lead to future answers as well, or updates. But the significance of that photo would be, if the time is correct, well then it kind of goes against one of Jack Newton's original points about the time of when he went to sleep, and kind of counters him and could mean that mistakes were made, getting it wrong about the actual time, the true time. But you can't go all in and flame Jack for that because, as I said, there's other party goers that may be incorrect at times, so it just needs to be acknowledged in a balanced way or so. But where I would mainly focus in on is probably when Caden Pressey overheard Noah Presgrove inquiring about having a shower, and that was Sunday night. So before the side-by-side rollover, Noah already wanted a shower. And I guess most people would, just before going to sleep, or maybe when you're waking up so you're nice and fresh and comfortable. It's just because the narrative that was being pushed over and over again is the main reason, the only reason why Noah wanted a shower was because he was dirty from the side-by-side rollover. But from the looks of it, before that happened, Noah already wanted a shower. I guess it was just pushed back a little bit before going to sleep, or wanting to sleep. Or maybe he would have intended on sleeping if he had the chance to get back to the house and not end up die somewhere, right? So it's just important to acknowledge the motives behind certain actions, and actions don't always have to be relevant to the death or have to be like really big scale stuff. It can be small scale, but it can explain and it can link onto bigger things, or minimize bigger things, but in a natural way. That you take out the side-by-side rollover, if that never happened, Noah would still probably have a shower, but maybe the conditions of how one has one would differ greatly. That Noah probably wouldn't need assistance. But then again, it then links back to the argument of, well, when it comes to the side-by-side rollover, and Noah then needing assistance in the bathroom, is it all down to because he was drunk, completely out of it? Or was it also partially enhanced by the rollover itself, being injured, hurt, bit of a daze, bit disorientated, a bit shook up? Could it be a mixture of the two? If you took away the side-by-side rollover, but Noah still drinking whatever amount of alcohol he was, by Monday morning, would Noah need escorting into the shower? Would Carter and was it Jasmine be of assistance? Would it be needed still? Maybe we can do it as a poll. Hopefully I'll remember to add it into the live chat afterwards. The poll can be something like, did Noah Presgrove need assistance in the shower if the side-by-side rollover never happened, but he was still drunk? Then you could determine the true importance of the alcohol levels and how bad he was in as for his state. Because if it's fairly known that Noah Presgrove does get drunk at parties, and like what Caden said, whenever Noah gets drunk, he will walk away, and it's happened quite a few times, which Caden has attended parties with Noah. And depending how much you drink and how often, you could build up a level of resilience with your body, your mind, and how you react to alcohol. You have it for the very first time, could be a bit overwhelming. Your body may not take it too well, depends what amount you have. But the more regular, build up a resistance, might not get as drunk as easy, or you may not pass out as easily. Everybody reacts differently, of course. But if you do build up a resistance against being under the influence of alcohol, you won't be as vulnerable as someone who isn't as adjusted to it. So you take away the side-by-side rollover, you take away any possible injuries that came from that, physical, inside, etc., then you can determine the true importance, the true vulnerability factor with Noah. Because one of the main vulnerability factors with Noah is he distanced himself physically from those from the party to wherever he was going, which was east, supposedly towards the highway in the dark. And whatever happened from there, who knows? But with Robin also saying how there is evidence to support that Noah wasn't alone, there was someone or some people with him, that does raise eyebrows. And it's just not been cleared up since. I don't know if Robin Smith would ever give an update, but just hasn't happened yet. But it's worth acknowledging. You start seeing Caddy's smaller scale examples, what I was referring to in the first place, like with that 150 bathroom photo, then tying it in with the concept of the shower and the bathroom later. So it's all important. I'm trying to do it in the correct order. But specifically with Caden overhearing Noah inquiring about a shower Sunday night. Was it past midnight or literally just Sunday night? I think it was about Sunday night. So that's just kind of interesting. And then the next transition would be, I guess, the side-by-side rollover, because from supposedly 150 to when's the next key timestamp? Well, like I said, at least to my knowledge, the publicly visible footage, photos of what we've seen with Noah at the party, the last one taken was at 150. And then anything after that has not been released publicly to my knowledge. I'm trying to make sure I've not neglected anything. If by some chance I have, you can add a correction in down below in the comment section. Okay, the shower, or more so before that, the side-by-side rollover, the shower, teabagging, eating ramen noodles, all events which supposedly have hard evidence to support that they did happen, but just not been released publicly. Other people won't like the idea of certain evidence like that existing or find it very hard to believe. But if at any point in time that material does come about and it can be analysed, it might fill in more grey areas. But for as long as it remains a mystery and open, they are important events. And whilst some of those events may have not directly led to Noah's death, and some of the events may have not directly led to Noah walking away from the house, still important because it involves Noah Presgrove, his life, and in the moment of what was happening, to understand how he was feeling, what was going on in his mind, the atmosphere as well, and maybe for certain other people too, and where people were positioned. So the side-by-side rollover, a simple event which didn't exactly end well, but it wasn't a disaster completely from how it's been, portrayed. But there was a period in time, wasn't there, where there was a strong push without any hard evidence, where people maybe from the light side were pushing the idea that the side-by-side rollover is like a cover-up, and that was the time of when Noah died on site of the property, and certain body parts flopping about and a flap of skin hanging off and blood dripping about. Let's pick the body up, let's take it inside of the house where there's witnesses, wash the body, wash it down, and then dispose afterwards. But the shower footage in the bathroom that Noah Presgrove is stood there is of a lifeless corpse, stood up, almost like on a meat hook, whilst being washed to make it seem like he's alive, but he's not. Seems very far-fetched when you piece it all together, but that's what people were believing in, without hard evidence. But how people were wording the stuff wasn't like, in my opinion, or a theory. People were saying it as a bold claim. That's what happened. That's what did happen. Not everyone, but some people did rush in with the language and wording, and it's troublesome. When I look at the side-by-side rollover, I just see it as, because you've got an accident, then you've got an incident. An incident, I believe, is where there's no damage done to the person or like the vehicle itself. Accident, when it can involve an injury, if not fatal. It wasn't meant to happen, but it just did, and it's unfortunate. There's been grey areas with the side-by-side rollover in regard to the time it occurred at, and if it was even recorded and documented, and who was actually in or on the side-by-side when it occurred besides Noah driving it. Have we received any answers over time from the horse's mouths or people that witnessed or heard about something? In a way, second, third-hand information. We just so happen to receive some answers in some ways. And in recent time, indirectly, with Robin Smith had said on Facebook, kind of reinforces it a little bit more with possibly Jack Newton's comment previously. And I'll try and explain it bit by bit with what I can remember, and there might be some people watching live who may be able to remember themselves. The timing of the side-by-side rollover. We don't have hard evidence to prove the footage or to prove the time, but based off what an individual had said, based on what they were shown themselves at a later point, that being Caden Pressey, being shown by another person, supposedly a guy, that had a photo, and the photo, which could be considered a screenshot, was from a video, as Caden would quote it that way. And it showed movement getting up close to Noah, the after effects of the rollover only, but it was visible, it was obvious what happened, and Noah had a bloodied nose. That's what Caden had said. And people can say, oh, it didn't happen, there's no proof of it, and this and that, but, if people look up to Caden and believe in him, people should be doing the same again. If people want to be very consistent, if they support Caden. But for me, in a balanced way, it would be, you would hope to think what Caden says is the truth, of course, and if he has been shown hard evidence, that's good, but he wasn't there to witness it himself in the moment. That's the limitation. And then for us to hear about it, we're hearing about it from Caden and what he was shown by someone else. We're like last in line. The more ideal outcome would be, and it might not happen, but whoever that person was that had the footage or photo which passed it on to Caden, is that in the hands of the police or not? Should it have ever been released publicly? So then you could see it secondhand, but in the eyes of someone that was there in the moment? to determine the situation with Noah Presgrove. Footage like that as hard evidence would have obviously helped reinforce or debunk the claims of the rollover being a cover-up for the actual murder of Noah and the form of foul play, which people were really jumping at one point. And maybe it doesn't happen now, but it did back then, and I do remember it. Does anyone else remember? And then it transitioned to, well, okay, in terms of the washing down, it didn't happen inside of the house. It actually happened just outside with like a hose pipe or something. But was there like a water supply or a hose pipe nearby? I'm sure there was some counterpoint saying there wasn't, or it wasn't as accessible as you would think. Some little counterpoints here and there, of course. It has changed since the concept, cause of death, the concept of a different murder outcome. And that's just how it's been with time. Changing with time isn't a problem. But if along the way you're wording it as a fact, as an event which happened, which didn't exactly, or never did, or you don't actually really know because you don't have hard evidence, that's a bit of a problem. It can confuse other people. When other people see comments online or statements and think, oh, it's an actual event, it did actually happen, I'm confused, can someone elaborate? And you see a comment thread where people respond back and say, well, actually, no, it didn't, it's just suggestions. And then you deflate, you think, oh, well, that was a bit of a letdown. But, context is lacking at best of times. And even like on Facebook, when people are talking about drama, when people are talking about being blocked or kicked, when people are talking about don't listen to that person or that previous post, that previous thing that went down. What went down? Who? She? He? They? What are they? Who are they? When? What are you talking about? There's just no context whatsoever. So within a mystery of confusion, people's responses create more mystery and confusion because we don't even know where we're at or what we're actually referring back to. If you're on the inside of it, you will know, but if you're just coming by or you're returning back after some time away and you hear things and mention, it's like code words and cryptic, and does it really need to be? It wastes time. Isn't it weird how there was a long trend in the early days, or of 2024 at least, where a lot of people were constantly using initials left, right and centre. Reddit, definitely, and kind of on Facebook as well. So many initials, it was impossible to try and know them all on the spot. So much so that at one point there had to be almost like a bloody glossary of these initials and attachments to it in regards to who was who. It's just because there's a lot of people within this case, or quite a lot of other people tagged in, dragged in, or acting on behalf of someone to defend certain party goers, that you could argue and say there could be a lot less noise, a lot less names to remember and pick up on if you just focused on the relevant party goers that were present at the time, around, classified as people of interest or possible witnesses to something. And if no attacks were done on the party goers, none of them, no attacks, not getting too full on, then you probably wouldn't get as many people stepping in on behalf of others, and then you wouldn't have to remember as many names, in a way, possibly. But, whilst, yes, it was a bit of a pain in the arse trying to remember all the names, the initials, there was a lot. There was a level of consistency when people were referring back to the named individuals and events associated with the names of the people or the initials, so you could keep up with it. But nowadays, maybe people have got too comfortable by, instead of saying Jack Newton, they say he did this and he knows that. But how are we going to know who you're referring to? We're not inside your brain, in your mind. That's why I try and mention the names myself all the time. I guess in the moment, if you're actually having a conversation or discussion with someone on a personal level, you might be on the same wavelength and you might not need to mention names. But for outsiders, it could be confusing. There are exceptions, I guess, where you might not mention names because you've got to protect yourself or protect someone else. Or you don't want to start any petty drama, as some people may get fixated on, as you know. So, yeah, give or take. But I guess it's got more relaxed with time when it comes to names, initials, and overall. But, I thought I'd just throw it out there. Referring back to the events within this case and the shower material and footage along the way. I still see it as all important because it's the people within the footage and how they were acting and how they appeared. And Noah Presgrove, because you kind of want to get a good understanding of, was Noah enjoying the party? And for most part of it, it seems to be yes, Noah was enjoying it. He was smiling, laughing from the footage that we've been shown and seen. The other footage, which may have been reserved for now, held back, it'll be interesting to see if that follows the same pattern, right? Because if it was like really up close till the point of Noah's death where he was happy and okay, and when it did finally come about, it was so out of nowhere, like such a surprise and shock in a way for Noah. That's if he had even time to react, depending on, you know, the cause of death. Because if it was something, I'm not referring to it in this case exactly, but if it was something like a person was walking down a street, they just said goodbye to the friends and whoever else, having a good time, fun, just thinking of what a great day. You're walking, crossing the street, next minute hit by a car or a bus. It's so sudden like that, you just haven't got time to think, and you just won't if it ends up being fatal, of course. But you won't feel it, likely. You may not see what's coming either, literally too. But it's out of the blue, not to be expected. Everything was all fine and happy up until the very, very end when you just wasn't going to know. Of course, for anyone about like witnesses, it wouldn't be good for them because, well, you're not expecting it and you haven't got time to react because it's just so unexpected. That shock factor can cause damage to people. As for the Robin Smith mention of evidence to say that Noah wasn't alone, what happened to those people then who were around Noah during his death? Have they been impacted? What do they know of? Where did it happen? And the time? Not had any answers, and I'll probably keep bringing it up until certain answers do come about. You know what I'm saying? But that's just like as a overall holistic outlook on how important these events building up to the end point. I mean, you could argue and say the bedroom debacle, and I call it that. It just basically means when Noah was trying to sleep in Avery's bed whilst Avery was in the bed and was denied. And supposedly before or after that, Noah went to Logan Jernigan's. Same result. And because of that, Noah ended up calling Avery supposedly a fat beep. Why would Noah say that to Avery and only Avery? What I mean is, if Noah was rejected by Logan as well, I'm surprised Noah didn't give any insults towards them. But, you know, maybe more was said by the other person, which then triggered Noah to say something he didn't mean. But would he normally be like that anyway? Would he normally be swearing and insulting people, whether it be at someone's party, birthday, or just a get-together? Whereas, yes, you're drunk, might not be thinking as clear or as straight, but you know, like how Kay and Pressy mentioned that when Noah Presgrove gets drunk, he becomes more confident, more flirty, which would be normally considered in a positive way. But to be calling someone a fat beep, is it normal? Normal for what Noah would normally do or say? Either way, it's just an important event that, because the bedroom situation is like the last event that happened inside of the house, which had a possible level of tension. The only other little activity just after the bedroom debacle would be Noah putting on mismatched shoes. And supposedly there was other partygoers that witnessed it, which has been like thrown about online in discussions mainly. So then the other event would be Jack having an argument with Noah, but not the one on Saturday past midnight, but the one on Monday, which has been glossed over and forgotten in a way since. Ever since Partners in True Crime did that one interview with Jack Newton, the pre-recorded one, and Ashley Chadwick, Robin Smith reacted to. Jack Newton acknowledged the argument on Saturday or past midnight, but Jack Newton did not acknowledge it whatsoever about the second argument. Instead of mentioning it, he added in a new detail which was never mentioned before about Logan being the witness to last see Noah walk away. It's like you're replacing an event by glossing the previous one with a new event a shocking event, an interesting one, and a new detail which will, attract the attention of the audience that will question that, but then in hopes of maybe forgetting what that previous argument was about. So that's obviously very unfortunate, because when bad things happen, whether it's directly linked or not, when people may have had an argument with someone, a falling out, and the last few words what you exchanged with them was on a negative note or in a hateful way, and the next thing you know, something bad happens to that other person. Now, you can't change that, you can't go back, and then people end up regretting what they last said to that particular faced individual, someone that they know, stranger, close one, who knows, and then it creates all kinds of mental warfare within people and can cause long-term questioning and just issues down the line there, can wear people down. So these particular events along the way, at what point did it drastically change? And that could be the bedroom situation. And then, of course, it depends on the timing of the argument with Jack and Noah. Because if it's 3:30 when Noah had walked away, was Jack witnessing Noah walking away, or was Jack still asleep? Honestly, I can't give a source where it came from, but that's just me being honest. In terms of Jack having in terms of Jack being the last person to see Noah walk away, I just remember that being mentioned over and over again, maybe more so in the earlier days in 2024, on the army page. So is there any proof or evidence or anything from the horse's mouth of Jack Newton, even if it was changed with time? Was there ever a moment where Jack himself, in his own words or text online, said he saw Noah walk away? Because I just can't remember if he actually said it himself. That's me being honest at this moment in time. But it's been said so many times online by members of the general public, consistently enough to maybe convince yourself that it just happened. I know Beauty Garumo had said, if you haven't got the cold, hard facts and the hard evidence, then why are people just nodding their heads easily at what the majority are talking about, even if it's not backed up? See, there will be some times where it might have been mentioned by the horse's mouth, but I've forgotten about that. But I'm still speaking sense, but where I reference where I got it from could be somewhat incorrect, if that makes any sense. But yes, I am hovering about with some later events. The previous ones, of course, the side-by-side rollover. Apologies about that. I'm doing it without a script, so that's why the flow is the way it is. But what did we learn about the side-by-side rollover, which was earlier? Well, from Caden witnessing the after effects and days after or so, when a person who had the footage or a photo showed it to Caden had said the timestamp with that screenshot or photo of the event was along the lines of about 2:40 in the morning. The only reason why that's a major problem, people had said, well, 2:40, that could be the timestamp of when the screenshot was taken from the original footage, which might have been on a different day or a different time. So it's not the original time of when the actual event happened. But the main counterpoint would be, well, if it did happen at 2:40, or the after effect of the rollover occurred at 2:40 and Noah was on the ground and bloodied, then why was it 3 minutes later Noah was inside with Jack, with Jasmine near a beer pong table, like nothing had happened? Then it would go against the idea of, well, if that's all true, then why would Noah need assistance then in the bathroom if he was okay, quite well, standing up by himself near the beer pong table? It can't all link together, can it? It just doesn't. Unless Caden Press's timeline is incorrect and it wasn't 2:43 when he saw Noah. That if you refer to the police interview that it was at 3:20 or 3:24 when he tried going back to sleep, but he did not see Noah Presgrove about, and that he may have been woken up by the call closer or just after 3 in the morning. So if at 2:40, the time of the after effects of the rollover, Caden's still being asleep at that point, at 2:40, 10, 20 minutes later, enough time passing by, of course, in order for Noah to move about and to transition into the bathroom. And once Noah is in the bathroom or somewhere else after that, Caden awake for that moment around 3:20 or just a bit before 3:20 and cannot see Noah, but just assumes that he's still at the party. If that's true, then it can still link to the 2:40 timestamp of the after effects of the rollover, but it does counter the 2:43 timestamp of when Alicia had called Caden. Hopefully that makes sense to people, because it can't all flow in a certain order, of course, because there's conflict. But what I will say is, though, if Caden was trying to get back to sleep at around 3:20 or 3:24, that is very close to around the time of when Noah was going to leave the house at 3:30, supposedly. Even if it was like 5, 6 plus minutes beforehand that actually took place, Caden was awake or about to go back to sleep. So his eyes, his ears, senses could have picked up on stuff, whilst Noah wasn't around him physically. He could have been in a different room, bathroom, and if not that, dining room area, kitchen, if he was being fed ramen noodles, yogurt. I guess you could say there's a bit of a blind spot when it comes to around the side in the kitchen area compared to the living area, living room with the TV and the chairs. Bit of a blind spot. Caden looking about, may only be able to see so much. But what about hearing? Could you hear Noah's voice? Maybe you didn't see him, but could you hear him? Just like how Caden said, he didn't see Noah reaching out to people about a ride home, but he did hear Noah asking people about a ride home. It'll be interesting to see where this goes, doesn't it? Right? So there's still so many little adjustments that need to be made, but no responses by Caden. Should there be an entitlement to receive responses by Caden? No. Maybe it would be nice to do like some negotiating, but it's like, you know, if Caden puts himself out there and then starts being active in the live chat based on what he wants to say and what he's got to say. But when it comes to very important questions, just confirming about the times of stuff, but there's no response from Caden, it just prolongs the confusion and it prolongs other people's desire and hunger for wanting to know what's the actual true timestamp, what's correct and what's not. Because like when Tim Daniel is trying to work it out as well in regard to what time did Caden actually go back to sleep? Was it 3 in the morning? Or was it 3:20, 3:24 in the morning? Because could it be like a 20, 24-minute time difference? The later it is when Caden goes to sleep, the more he could have witnessed, because it's closer to the actual time of when Noah supposedly walked away. The bedroom debacle, whatever time that happened at. The shower before, whatever time that happened at. If we knew of it all, we could start piecing together, and it doesn't have to be in the exact order. If footage of the shower comes about and it says, if there was like a timestamp as well available of what could be an example, 3:10, 3:15 in the morning or something. It's just a guess, that's all. Then you could compare it and say, well, if it's at that time, that's closer to when Caden was woken up by the call or when he was about to go to sleep. So that's probably why I didn't see Noah Presgrove then, because Noah was elsewhere in the bathroom. But did you actually hear anything? Did you see who else was present or who wasn't? You could work it out that way. And then you could apply it to the teabagging as well. If there's footage of teabagging, well, that must have happened at a time of when Caden was back asleep. Because in the order of how it's been mentioned in the background was side-by-side rollover, followed by shower, followed by teabagging and unclothed from the shower, teabagging people about the room, the house, then being fed ramen noodles, yogurt by catacombs, then the bedroom debacle and getting tense, and then Noah walking away. That's the order how it's been like worded by people in the background and like from the dark side, if you want to call it. Well, if that's the case, you would think, guessing that if Caden's timeline of going to sleep at 3:20 or 3:24, it would mean the teabagging, if that's true, would have had to have happened after that time, because if it happened at the time or just a bit before, Caden would have been awake and Caden should have seen the teabagging taking place, if not experienced it, as Noah was above him. Because how it's been worded was the teabagging was on the guys, the ones that were asleep. That would apply to Caden, Mikey, Brylan, Isaac, and whatnot. So you'd think for Caden not to literally see something or hear it would mean that either happened much earlier on before when he was asleep, before he was woken up, or just after when he went back to sleep. But with that being in mind, teabagging after 3:20, that's only like 10-minute time window of when Caden goes to sleep to then when Noah walks away. So in that small time window, you're saying that the teabagging took place, being fed ramen, noodles, and yogurt, and then the bedroom arguments. That's a lot going on in a short space of time, to be honest. And how quick does Caden Pressey go to sleep or fade out into the subconscious mind? If Caden could I don't know if you could say easily, but when Caden Pressey said at 5:15 he was woken up by Jack bursting through the door and the door slamming against the wall, enough to wake Caden up, but not the other guys. I'm surprised Caden Pressey wasn't woken up by the door slamming, maybe when Noah walked away, or when there was arguments supposedly between Avery and maybe Noah or Jack. Or maybe the teabagging, if Noah was supposedly running about teabagging and he was a bit energetic, did he say anything? Did he make any noises? And if you're teabagging someone, are you jumping on the chairs, or are you just standing near to the chair and bouncing up and down on the person? Because that could disturb the individual. If you start climbing onto someone's bed whilst they're asleep, or if they're in a chair, that movement could startle, wake them up. Was it done silently or not? So it seems like there's such a small, tight time frame window for things to happen based off Caden's timeline and when he was awake and when he wasn't, and then what happened after that when he was back to sleep. It's a problem. And it's unfortunate, but the more I break it down, the more complex it gets, because I might add in extra questions which might have not come up before or not been mentioned in a while. So I do think that regardless of the order of the events, if you manage to work one out or there's additional updates in regards to it, then it can have a knock-on effect with the next thing or the previous event before that, which then could derail or reinforce somebody's timeline amongst it all happening, like with Caden Pressey. And to refer back to the timing of the supposed side-by-side rollover, besides learning about the supposed 2:40 timestamp which Caden provided himself as a witness, who he told the police about it, and then that was leaked. I think it was on that one, yeah. What else was mentioned? Not by Caden, because Caden didn't see it, but Jack Newton, who supposedly didn't see it either, but he was told that it was 5 to 6 passengers. Who were those 5 to 6 people? We were trying to work it out ourselves. You know, the other guys were asleep, supposedly, if that's Jack, and then you got Caden, and you got Brylan, Mikey, Isaac. The girls, would they want any part of a side-by-side? Maybe not in the moment. Who's left? Justin Roy's family a family? Well, if they've left earlier, then it can't include them. So who's ultimately left? Texas boys? That's what we were guessing. It was the Texas boys as passengers. And I mentioned that earlier on. But the reason why it was indirectly reinforced, not as a fact, but just the chances of it being more likely believable, is when a couple of days ago when Robin Smith answered somebody on Facebook and said, the Texas boys were cleared from the case. That's what police have told us. There was 5 Texas boys that were at the party. Now, Justin Roy left a comment in recent time on one of my videos saying, I don't think all the Texas boys were actually cleared. That's just Justin's opinion. But it's interesting how you got a Noah Presgrove victim family member who's in contact with the police, and police tell her, Robin, Texas boys are all cleared, and there's only 5 of them. And Justin Roy just says, well, I don't think they were cleared. But if they've been officially cleared, then why are you saying, I don't think they have been? What? But I think what Justin is getting at is some of them may have been cleared, but other Texas boys weren't. Robin says 5 Texas boys. Is that truly how many were actually there? Was there no more? If not, fair enough. And based off that, well then it would link to indirectly to what Jack Newton was saying about 5 to 6 passengers on that side-by-side rollover. The number 5, mentioned months ago. And Robin just so happens to mention 5 Texas guys. Well, those 5 guys could well have been the passengers when Noah was on that side-by-side. But what was the motive? What was the purpose of that side-by-side? See, the Texas boys, if they truly are the passengers, they would be the witnesses as well to when it unfolded and who else was present, and the timing of it, and the condition of what Noah was in, and the possible motive or the mindset of Noah at the time. But we've not heard any of that. And maybe these people need to be protected in the ages that they are, understandable, but you see how there's such a big void in a particular area where if it was filled with answers, it would help a lot and then have a positive knock-on effect with the next event, such as the shower situation. Because, for example, if the Texas boys said, oh yeah, Noah Presgrove going to the side-by-side, he was trying to show off, or he was trying to impress someone, or he needed to leave, who knows, and then was operating the vehicle and it got a bit wild out of hand, it tipped over, and then after that Noah was somewhat injured, he did have blood on him, well then that would complement Caden Pressey as what he witnessed and saw afterwards through that footage or photo. You see, in these different ways it can link on and link and link and link, but we're not getting it, unfortunately. So just keep going back over these events with time and adding additional points of view towards it. But I just find it interesting with what Jack says directly about the passengers, the number 5, and then Robin just happens to mention the number 5 as well. I'm interpreting it as a link, not as a fact. Hopefully people understand that. And from there, would you get any additional answers? I mean, how many of the party goers or witnesses secretly watch my videos? I don't know. Yeah, we've seen Caden Pressey, which is a positive, but that was openly and publicly. I don't know as for the background. Does it make a big difference? Not really, but you know, if there's any questions along the way, important ones that can be answered, and if you feel comfortable enough to answer, feel free to do so in the comment section or the live chat. It can go a long way. So yeah, we've learned some stuff about the side-by-side rollover, not 100% as fact, but just a bit of a better understanding now from what different people have said and possible links that can be made. And the bathroom situation, grey areas in regards to, you basically need the footage of it to see the conditions, Noah, body language, atmosphere, whether it does or doesn't include when Noah's best buddy supposedly jumped on into the shower as well and messed about. That's why it's been mentioned by some other people. I think it was mentioned by Carter Combs, or it was mentioned by Brooke. It was mentioned by one of the key individuals at least about possible friend jumping on in. But was that recorded too? I don't know. It was interesting how in the past, just the general public were wording and stating it that Noah Presgrove was actually being washed by Jasmine, Carter, and a male. But then maybe other people were wording it as Noah was only washed down by a male. So you can understand how it can be so misinterpreted and broken up all over the bloody place. But when you hear it from the horse's mouth of a witness that was inside of the bathroom at the time of when it was unfolded, and one of them says, yes, and a guy of Noah's friend jumped on in, not to wash, but just to be washed. Interesting. Was that guy, well, would it be a Texas boy? Was Noah friends with any Texas boys at the time who were at the party, yes or no? out of the 5 Texas boys that were there, in reference to Robin Smith at least. If so, we could explain the additional urge to have a wash, because whilst Noah needs a wash because he's dirty, the other passengers could be the same in a way. But from like what Jack had said, everyone or most people at the party did have a shower before winding down to go to bed, which is understandable and normal. So there was still a process behind it. If the side-by-side didn't happen, Noah still probably would have had a shower at some point if he had the chance to. If he didn't die, or before or after walking away, if he managed to make it back safe, having a shower, just like how other people do. But obviously it's unique to Noah in this case because of the timing when it did actually happen, what happened before and what happened afterwards. For Noah, because it's important to do that comparison as well and contrast. You know, if you got shower footage, but then you got the teabagging footage as well. Shower first, teabagging next. What's consistent? Noah not clothed whatsoever, but the energy levels change up quick. That's what's kind of interesting. But there have been mentions of, and I don't know if Caden Pressey mentioned it himself, or it might have been Stevie or Brooke. But the mention of, after the side-by-side rollover, the guys left it off. If you left it off, you're still full of, or you still have some kind of energy, positivity within you. So when it comes to going to the shower in the bathroom, maybe you're not completely out of it, as other people interpret. And that when one of Noah's best friends jumps in, supposedly, and they're laughing and joking, that energy is still there. If that spark never faded out and that energy and light was still present, that when the next thing that happens, such as teabagging, it would be more believable, right? And that could be proved and compared through footage. That would be a positive. It's just because people find it hard to believe, because people in the case community have had that concept previously that, oh, side-by-side rollover, Noah injured, if not worse, dazed, disorientated, with needing assistance into the bathroom shower. Well, it must be bad enough. No, not quite there with it. Noah vulnerable. Noah being recorded without permission, consent. So how the hell could he go from that to then jumping out of the shower like a fresh spring frog, going into a spring full of deep lily pads and whatnot, and flies all over the place, hopping about all over the place, teabagging up and down, doing all kinds of stuff. And, you know, just that extreme change. Is it even possible? It doesn't seem like it. But, you know, people do get like bursts of energy at times, which cannot really be explained, or there might be a factor in between which lightens somebody's mood. There's alternatives. It's always worth taking in mind. But if you are drained, sucked, well, that sounds a bit weird. If you're drained of it and there's not much left of you, but then suddenly you're full of energy or life, there's got to be a bit of reasoning behind it, some sub-factors, additional ones. But, you know, if Noah never lost that energy in the first place, or sense of humour through these different events, it would have translated well through each one, making it more believable for it to happen. So that needs to be acknowledged as well. But for the point where Noah is eating, supposedly, and Carter's giving it to him, a level of care, concern, winding down at that point, and then just before, and then eating, and then the sleeping arrangements where it ends up going not to plan, and then the tension there. So the stuff before, very important, can complement one another and can complement or debunk other people's timelines. The way I say it, each event important. Each event supposedly has some kind of footage, backstory behind it, but it's just not released publicly. Then the bedroom debacle, which has not been mentioned by anyone, to my knowledge, of video footage of it taking place, which is a great shame, because it's the last known big event which involved Noah and some others, and it might have been a bit tense because of not being able to do this or that, and then walking away with a bit of a bad taste, or other people having a bad taste in their mouth. Whether there's a motive or not linking to the outcome of Noah, it's just that it ended on a bit of a tense note, and that's what needs to be acknowledged. But in fairness, been several times in the past from what Caden had said, that when Noah Presgrove got annoyed, frustrated, he walked away. So on a bad note, he walked away and left people, but was able to make it back safely, and he was in a better mood. So it was a selfless act. It's just that this time round, this final party, Noah didn't get the opportunity to return back. So it is unfortunate that. But the event itself, did it trigger a psychological response reaction from anyone at the party to go and follow him out of concern or out of frustration? A psychological magnetizing effect. Is that possible? You attract or detract people, bring them closer or push them away, depending on the mood, the atmosphere, and more. And then, besides the bedroom debacle, the most important event, I would say, which supposedly wasn't documented, but was mentioned many times in the past, but no longer, and even Jack doesn't even mention it now, and that's that second argument with Noah, Jack and Noah. Who mentioned it in the first place? Does anyone have a time? Forget about the Saturday one, or the past midnight Saturday one, same thing. What about this second argument with Jack Newton and Noah Presgrove? What the hell happened there? I interpreted it like it was on Monday, and other people said it was on Monday. Was it first mentioned by Justin Roy or Caden Pressey? Has to be from one of those interviews. Could have been Justin Roy. But correct me if I'm wrong. But if that's the last form of contact or final argument, ending tense, you could think, oh, how does it follow on from there? If we knew the time properly with the hard evidence, if by any chance it was at 3:30, just before or just after, well then it kind of puts question or doubt towards Jack Newton, because it's like, yeah, but you're supposed to be asleep. So how can you be arguing with Noah? Sleepwalking arguments? Likely not, but we might get some responses in the chat tonight by people. I'm just bringing this stuff up, even if it is outdated, because it's just not really been mentioned enough since. So if it triggers any responses, replies, updates, then that's what's needed. But as a refresher, this stuff is needed. It's been very heavy and focused on the highway, an accidental cause of death. Been heavily focused on not attacks, but looking at the darkness within other people who would normally be considered innocent, but we need to demonstrate that balance. This particular video was just holistic, but highlighting the importance of each event building up. And with each event building up, still having unanswered questions and grey areas. Just the fact as a measuring tool to say that the side-by-side rollover, how long it's taken to get answers and for it still not to be fully reinforced with hard evidence is somewhat disappointing, isn't it? And with that being in mind, kind of like a similar measurement tool, where there's resistance, when things get hard, difficult, dark, maybe you're getting too close to the truth. Is that the same with if people are very awkward or there's not enough answers coming about? It's because people do know, but they don't want you to know, so they'll keep it to themselves about the side-by-side rollover. Because if you got 5 to 6 passengers in the bloody vehicle, including Noah Presgrove, and there might have been the odd other person nearby to see it or record it from, what Ken Pressey had seen in terms of second-hand material, surely someone must bloody know what actually happened with the side-by-side rollover, the identities of the people, the true extent, and the condition of Noah. And yet it's proven to be so difficult in getting an understanding of it. If it's such an insignificant event, and it doesn't link to Noah's death directly, and it doesn't link to any foul play, and it's not a cover-up, and it's insignificant, it should be easily resolved and receive answers, but that's not been the case. Yes, with the complex stuff in the case, that's been difficult too, but with the easy stuff, it's been just as problematic. And that's where, there'll be questions and suspicions as well. But whilst all that is quite heavy and deep, what we do need to transition on to partially is something a bit more light-hearted with looking at comments elsewhere. So if anyone has joined late, be sure to rewind back to the start of the video. What I will say now, just to, finalise it, so there's no complaints, is hopefully you enjoyed the Noah Presgrove case coverage today. Be sure to catch up on previous videos up there, and I'll see you next time. But now, we're looking at something different. So for anyone that's still remaining, Let's catch up with some interesting comments. So to start off with, we've got Carl, who says, "Hey Wallite Ref, what do I need to do to graduate from the Wallite Ref University and get my new shiny black belt? I really want one. I feel like I have been a good participant of rational thinking. I also love strawberries in general." Okay, that's very interesting, that. I'll give you my response later. Skippy, Carl, I've studied hard, but also did not get a shiny black belt. I also like strawberries and cats, so that should give me extra credit. No? And then Strawberry ended up saying, "I totally agree." Sorry, I don't know why I'm doing an American accent. I totally agree. Yeah, right. Right, this is the thing. What qualifies Carl for graduating the University of Wallite Ref, and why should he get a black belt? Forget the strawberries. Forget your rational thinking. You know why you, Carl, are going to get a black belt? Why you're going to receive that great prestigious honour? Does anyone care to guess or know why? Because look at Carl, man in black. He's got bloody black shades, man. Matches the same colour as the belt. So just for wearing some black sunglasses, men in black, you can have men in whips as well. There you go. Yeah, Carl, you're going to graduate. Don't even worry about that. He's even got the shades emoji there. Huh. That's what needs to be seen more often. In regard to Skippy, though, besides the strawberries and the kitty cats, the reason why Skippy is deserving of the Black Belt Award is because Skippy is the coyote tamer. Coyotes all over the property. Like, yes, there might have been a time that Wallite Ref did some ASMR whispering video and it sent all the kitty cats and the wild ones into a deep sleep resting, but then I made some other sound and then it made them all wild and woke them up. So if there's any other times where Wallite Ref opens his big gob and it disturbs any of the coyotes, kitty cats, if Skippy has the black belt, it can maintain a level of order, and that's just by waving it in the air. So for that, Skippy, so it makes it easier for you as well. Long-time viewer, you will be receiving it, so don't worry about that. But additional conversations included Skippy, Sharon, in your honour and in hopes of obtaining this most prestigious RAF university degree, I'm adding more strawberries to my curriculum, whatever that says, and throwing in a couple of unicorns. Whoa, really pushing the boat out there. So what Skippy is trying to do is excel to the same standards as what Strawberry did originally, almost appearing on the wall, you know, the wall of honours, the honour list. And then Michaela says group banana. I don't know where we're going with that, but there's only one banana about and it's massive and it's next to the wardrobe, that inflatable one. I think it's going down a little bit. I don't know if it's got like a puncture. But speaking of Michaela, she says, what do I have to do to get the black belt? Well, without context, for anyone that wants the black belt, just be on naughty behaviour, okay? And you will receive it. But if you're graduating and you want one yourself so you can use it in life in many ways, you know, it could be of great use and it could help you at any point. Michaela, how do you obtain one? Well, let's just check. I think what's important to acknowledge is Michaela is already using the emoji, so she's got a good grip on how to use it, a good understanding, which is obviously a big positive. But you look at the profile picture of Michaela with that smooth flowing hair, that I would argue and say that if that was done into a ponytail, Michaela, you probably could use your own hair as a whip itself, which could be just as effective, if not more, than the black belt. But of course, there's no harm in dual-wielding whips, one in each hand. That can work as well.
So, Michaela, where are you at, boy? Yeah, don't worry, I heard you like Red Dead Redemption. You redeem yourself for the Academy of Wallite Ref. Don't worry. You're fine, ready for that.
And based off, you know, that facial expression, really locked in, ready to graduate, ready to break through. Exactly. You will be receiving the award later. So another positive outcome.
Mr. Morgan, mighty fine. It's real good. Well, where's Where's Beauty Garumo? Beauty Garumo? What a similar name you got to me.
Anyway, moving on. This is where the real shit kicks off. Deep ponds with frogs. And Raph's like, Raph, oh yes, that's Donabond, frog waffle. Oh my god, I gotta pee. So it looks like once again, Warlight Raph is having that effect on people where they need toilet time. That's very interesting. Don't worry, Sharon, if you need any plumbing, I'm here. Handyman Raph. Jam, we got Jam there. Andrea says, not the deep ponds. Yeah, Andrea, that's where they store and hide all the money bags. You know, start reaching deep, digging deep to try and find it. Oh my goodness. And isn't that right, Shannon? Ouch, for what exactly? We've got Tim Daniel as well, mentioning the deep ponds with little froggies. That's obviously great. But Sharon's laughing away. You know what, Sharon, you can laugh till the cows come home, but what about the frogs in the pond? Yeah, Sharon, the ponds. Oh, my voice is changing all over the place. Don't know where I'm at anymore. But, you know, Andrea does have good points. You know, when you got the deep ponds, it adds more obstacles along the way. Sharon, you know, Sharon, are you going to be cutting Andrea's hair anytime soon? Got her an appointment booking. Yeah, right, Sharon. You get your expensive scissors out and chop away Andrea's hair. It's going to take forever, isn't it? It's looking like Rapunzel. Anyway, moving on. Can't stop laughing. Oh, that's so funny. I can't either. Oh, my goodness. So this is just, you know, the beginning of it all. What else do we have? We kind of like jump in out of nowhere. I say to Beauty Garumo, so I was hiding in the bathroom shower. Oh my God, someone was knocking at the door. Who was it really, though? You know, and then Beauty Garumo says, Raph, it was probably me wanting you to come the hell out and come back. Oh my God, Beauty Garumo, that's really good. Invited me back to the party. Yeah. Yeah, that's really nice, really appreciated. And speaking of which, Beauty says to Sharon, missed you as well. Donna Bond, Raph needs a cape with the Froginator on it. A frog cape, a frog robe. Oh my goodness. Where could that go? So it's great, this. And then Sharon says, Beauty, I was in the shower with Raph. That's why he couldn't come out. And then some lips. Very interesting. See, at the time when Sharon decided to say this, I was drinking water at the time, and luckily I did not spit it out or choke on it, unlike some do. So it was great timing that. Thanks, Sharon. Thanks for typing that in at the time when I was trying to drink. I don't know what you're trying to do there. I was trying to get secondary drowning from the last time in the shower. My God, raining down all over my face. Couldn't even breathe. It went from hot to cold, the temperature all over the place. And the body reacting to the cold water as well. Goodness me. But what was Sharon doing in the shower with Raph? Well, it's very simple. That Warlight Raph was trying to fix some loose pipes and plumbing. That Sharon was guiding me into how to get into the bathroom, how to get into the shower itself, because it was quite complex, the door and how you open it. And then when looking and inspecting the shower box, the head as well, the head was rather big. Adjusting it, make sure it wasn't loose, testing the buttons on and off. Sharon, of all people, Sharon, why did you turn it on? You pressed the button to see if it would work. Yeah, it definitely did work, but I was still in there at the time, and then obviously I got completely drenched. Sharon tried climbing in with the Warlight Raph custom towel emoji to try and dry me off, but when doing so, accidentally pushed me against the wall, my back pressed the button, and then the shower turned on again, and Sharon got wet as well. Okay, we're all in this together, yes, and wet at the same time. So it was a very interesting shower, but at least it worked. You know, the water supply and the quality, the temperature. That's what really matters at the end of the day. But Beauty Garumo says, Sharon, ooh, steamy. Yeah, Beauty Garumo, really steamy. My goodness, Sharon was wearing black shades and sunglasses in the shower, and the heat of the water itself created so much condensation she couldn't see. Poor Sharon, I had to take those sunglasses off and wipe them with my fingers. Aw. But what else do we have here? Rebecca Gagliari says, left my ass off. Yep, 5,000. Tim Daniel, I only got 164. Donna Bond, got 1,000. I have thousands for you, says Rebecca. And Robbie, Tim, I think Justin just can't count. What the context of this? It's to do with the screenshots, isn't it, in regard to the case? Sharon says to Beauty, bless Warlight Ref, he tried to get out. Tried is the key word here. Why did I not successfully get out? Well, because Sharon was right in front of me. How do I get past? You know, if people remember in the live chat that time was Sharon has the ability to take people down to the ground, you know, like a rugby tackle, a football tackle, grab by the legs and strike down. You know, if I try moving, I'll just end up slipping. Do I want to be slipping about? Do I want to be dropping the soap when Sharon is about? Oh my God. I'm going to be able to walk properly. Why can I not walk properly? Because I'm going to be banging my leg on the side of the wall. And I don't want to be doing that. I don't want to be bruised. My God. But, you know, once you get wet, you're already wet. It is what it is when the water starts pouring from above. So by that point, it was like, oh, well, there we go. And the shower is quite small, tight, and compact. So you can't really move about either. So, you know, you got to give and take. Beauty Grumo, Sharon, I would have just stayed. Seems like he was in good hands. Yep. And speaking of good hands, Sharon has smooth hands, but also a very strong grip when it comes to, I guess, well, lifting weights or... I don't know. I don't know where Sharon got her grip strength from. I don't know. I didn't actually figure that out. Obviously me, from lifting weights, but I don't know Sharon. It's because Sharon has been grabbing the strawberries from the plants, tugging at them to pull them off the plants. There we go. That requires quite a bit of effort over time, working at farms. Yeah. But Beauty Gurumo, exactly. You got the right baddie attitude and mentality. You got to keep it up there and keep it real 100%. My God, amazing. But moving on, I did say to Sharon, you did miss a spot. Beauty says drama. No, this ain't drama. This is real life. This is reality. This is the real... I don't know what I was actually going to say, to be honest. Well, I just laugh. And then Sharon says, Raph, have you seen how tall you are? I am bound to miss a spot. Yes, Sharon, you may miss a spot, but you can always touch it up afterwards with a brush, just like that wall. Yeah, exactly. Don't worry, Sharon. There's always time to correct it. Rub-a-dub-dub, and it should be good. Rhyming as well. And then Fazza says, how tall is Raph? Beauty Gurumo says, like 6 foot. Oh, lol. Oh my God, Beauty Gurumo, close, but not close enough. I'm actually 6'2". Sorry. Tim Daniel says, like 12 feet, or at least. Oh God, Tim Daniel. Really thinking big and out there. Yeah, Warlike Raph is 6'2". Warlike Raph, the height he is, didn't know you could stack shit that high, but looks like it's the case. Beauty Gurumo, he is tall as fuck. I'm only 5'2", lol, so that's giant to me. Oh my God, Beauty Gurumo. Don't worry, I'm not going to overshadow you. No, I might stand there, but I don't know where you would be looking at because it might be on the stomach area. I don't know, based off the height, but don't worry, Beauty Gurumo. It's just fine. You can stand on a chair or a ladder. But, you know, Beauty Gurumo, oh my God, if we have any drama, God, goodness me, I hope we don't have any drama or any falling outs. But if we do, Beauty Gurumo, as a little heads up, literally as a heads up, you will be looking up at my head. You know, you are telling me off if I've been a naughty individual, if I've stolen your makeup, and I don't know why I would be doing that, or if I broke one of your brushes or something, or if I spilled some of the paint, whatever. Beauty, you'll be looking up and you'll be telling me off. And I'm sure a baddie is going to be putting me in place. Oh my God, I'm so scared. Oh, goodness gracious. Fazza says, my nephew's 6'4". Another person said he was 6'4". Sharon says, Raph, excuse me, how dare you? How dare you? What, Sharon? What have I done now? Exactly. Unfortunately, I think I've got the wrong screenshot here where I might have cut the original comment out by me or something. But I don't know what I said, but it was probably something naughty, accidentally. Actually, yeah, I did say something, but it was meant out of context. I can't remember now. Don't worry, Sharon. It's all right. You just calm down. Calm down. And then what else do we have here? Beauty Gurumo says, Raph, just a short, thick... What is that? Thick... How do you say that? Thickums. What the fuck is that? I've never seen that word before. Raph, I'm just a thickum girly. Oh my God, girly. Yeah. Truth, I'm 6'4". There we go. So we've got some tall people about. Sharon says, Beauty Gorgeous height, I'm 5'7". Wow. Oh my God, Sharon, that's a perfect height. And then Jam says, I'm 5'1.5" tall. Half inch is doing work depending on the day. Robbie Taylor, in quotes, the last thing that I'll say, coming from Justin's mouth, is hilarious. I guess that's because it won't be the last thing that he says. Beauty Grumo says, Raf, you know it. Yeah, same wavelength, but then we've got private messengers. Oh, God. We've got an interesting username here. Private messages says, I'm a 4'1" bodybuilder. Oh, no. Private messages. Make sure no frogs. Make sure no autobiographies. Sneak on in, and steal any 4'1" bodybuilder photos. Oh, my God. Imagine if they get leaked. Oh, God. What are we going to do about that? Oh, no. Oh, what's next? Oh, we've got a private message bodybuilder group chat. Who's the ringleader, Warlight Wrath? Oh, now we're going to expose it all now. all these photos exposed. What's all this about? It means fuck all anyway, because, what, you're going to blackmail nips? They're already present. They're already on YouTube. It's all fine and under control in terms of me. But, private messages, you keep up the bodybuilding. Whatever's happening there, Sharon with the kitty cats. Wow. Beauty Garimo. If I get some shoes on, I'm maybe 5'3", maybe. I don't know. That's on top of shelves at Walmart. Never have known, lol. Oh my God. Walmart. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Tim Daniel says, well, screenshot deal at high noon. Oh no, Tim Daniel. You locked and loaded. Oh my God. All under control. And what do I say? My God, need to click your fingers. Oh yeah, get the crane out. Yeah, to reach higher. And Sharon, do you ever have trouble reaching? Does Sharon have trouble reaching around? Tim Daniel says, sorry. Oh God. Come on, Tim Daniel. Come on, Tim Daniel. You don't need to be sorry for nothing. Yeah? You want to wear buttoned up trousers? I don't know what the hell they are. You want to wear a camel's cloth or something, or camel's fur as a coat? You do that, Tim Daniel. Don't even need to be sorry. Beauty Grumo. Rav, I just stand there and ask, please help me until someone helps me. Oh my God, Beauty Gurumo, you're going to make me mad. I don't want to see you there struggling, 5'3" individual, looking around, glaring up at all these beautiful products above that you cannot reach. Oh my God, please help me. Help me, please, Beauty Gurumo, I need some help. Oh my God, I'm going to come on down. Don't worry, I'll help you. And then I was probably going to tie it in with that weird sound, but I don't know if I'll probably do it now. Well, actually, I'll do it now, but I'll add in context. But I just hope Beauty Gurumo is present to witness this, because if not, it's going to just sound random. So in terms of doing that high-pitch voice or the American accent, sometimes when you mention certain words or expressions or through certain trends and stuff, there is there's a word called ooh woo, and it sounds a bit cringe. But obviously, you don't just say ooh woo. You got to do it in one of those cartoon animation voices, accents, but it sounds very awkward. So as a disclaimer for anyone that needs to turn the volume down, in case anyone's about, make sure to turn the volume down right now. But Beauty Gurumo, don't be struggling. You'll be reaching those shelves, a nice big shove up, and you'll be like, yeah, oh my God, that sounds so shit. Let's move on. Sharon, Raf, who needs a bloody crane with you? Yeah, right. Absolute crane reaching out and getting the height and elevation. Yeah, no cranes, no trains, just hands all over. Hands on the shelves only. Hands above, hands tied. What's going on here? Beauty says, I tried, but these legs are small. Oh my God, don't worry. Fine as they are. Lift you up. Sharon says, I do, yeah.
Ref, you can't be trusted. Oh my goodness gracious me, Shannon. We back to this again. Back to square number one with a rude comment by you. How dare you try and do that to me? You say that with conviction. How dare you? Are you even in a position to be saying that? You know, all this time you've been reaching around trying to go the list up and down and going into the shops. You don't know where you are. You don't know what you're doing. You're down the wrong aisle. You're into the wrong car. Why are you walking to the wrong car? That's not yours. You need to look, listen, learn. Look, listen, learn and do some proper workouts. Okay, Shannon, you will listen to me. It's all under control. You don't need to worry. Again, maybe more trust is needed. But do explain Tim Daniel with the face palms. Yes, that's great. Screenshots. Raf, no comments. Yeah, Shan, that's what they always say. No comments. Yeah. Gathering Becca's funniest part is anyone shared screenshots of Jats, they would blast, they were so fast. And Donovan says, 500, 800, 750, 1,002, 65, Tim Daniels sold to the highest bidder. Oh my god, Tim Daniel selling off some of his fashion clothing. Oh my god. Wow. Be careful, Tim Daniel. You sell any of the high-end fashion clothing, you might turn into some deep pockets and you might get accusations. Who knows at this point? Is that it? Oh no, we've got a little bit more. Sharon says, Raf, do you like burgers? Fazza says, I do. I respond, yes, Sharon, I do like burgers. And then Sharon says, oh God, I'm getting out of the, what? I'm not sharing. You're getting out of the shower because of the burgers. Oh, the burgers are going to get soggy. Oh God, I didn't even think about that. That is a catastrophe.
Okay, so just to finalise a few things, we just need to hand out some final more Warlight Ref University Graduates Awards to key people. So Carl, the man with the black shades, stand up right now. Okay, you ready, Carl? There you go. Skippy, skip along. It's now time that you receive the awards, Skippy. Very consistent, very clear. Let me just grab it. There you go. Okay, Skippy, you have that. There you go. Anybody else present?
Michaela, where you at, boy?
There you go, Michaela. You did say you want the black whip, though, so there you go. But you can have the award as well. Take it. There we go. Was there anybody else that required it? I'm trying to remember all the names. If I did miss out anybody, I'll do it in the next video, of course. But we're getting there. Progress being made in that regard. Hopefully you found the video somewhat interesting, though, in general. If you do want to hit the like button or share, that would be much appreciated. My name's Warlight Ref. We'll see what happens next, of course, in the case and much more. And yeah, goodbye for now. Take care.